So, this kind of behavior is what we call in vocal anthropophysiology a breathy voice. It's when we, on purpose, we allow a escape of air in our voices. So I'm producing the sound here, and then I want to make this. So I want this breathy sound. And we do that a lot in contemporary singing. So ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the studio with a good cup of coffee for one more vocal analysis. And today we're going to listen to, I think that we pronounce this, Une Vie, which is a piece of the soundtrack of the game Expedition 33. I haven't played the game. I've had people telling me extremely positive things about the game. And this particular friend of mine, Sergio, he told me that I should definitely react to this one. So he sent me the link and he said absolutely no spoilers. So don't look at the comments. Don't listen to anything before you start recording. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I want to listen to this song with you guys. It is a really huge song. It's over 10 minutes long. So I'll do my best not to talk too much today. And yeah, let's listen to it. Now, if you're new here, my name is Caio. I'm a singer-songwriter and voice teacher. My work as a voice teacher is focused on laryngophysiology, contemporary singing, so the vocal behaviors that we have outside the scope of classical singing in contemporary music, pop, rock, country, basically all the range of styles that are present in contemporary singing nowadays. And that includes, but it's not limited to, distorted vocals. Yeah! Vocal distortions, scream, rasp, and those kind of behaviors. All right? So that's what I do. I also, again, have my own work as a singer-songwriter. I write music, I sing, of course, and I release music under my own name and under the name of my band. If you want to listen to my songs, I'll also leave the link for that in the description below. All right? So let's give it a go. I'll hit the play and let's listen and discuss. It's a beautiful harmony. Yeah, I think he's singing. Yeah, I think they're doing a fifth there. It's beautiful. Yeah, I really like soundtracks in general. But of course, I need to say that it hits different when you have more of the context. Like, I'm pretty sure that people who play the game and they listen to this being played in the game, they have a totally different experience, because in the games that I've played, like when I listen to songs that were part of a Final Fantasy that I've played, it hits hard. Alright, but let's keep going. It's beautiful. They're doing a lot of harmonies. We have some active vocal folds, some passive vocal folds, a lot of dynamics when it comes to that. And yeah. So we had passive vocal folds in what we would call a Gregorian voice inside vocal anthropophysiology, which is when we have the vocal folds in passive tension, but we are projecting the voice forward. And now we have active vocal folds in what we would call a warm voice. Ow! So we have that belt style. Lots of dynamics here. I love the piano there as well. And it gives me those classic RPG vibes. But at the same time a bit darker. Might be totally wrong, but I have the feel that at some moment this song will turn heavy. And I say rock/metal heavy. Again, I might be totally wrong, but when my friend asked me not to look at any spoilers, like don't look at the comments and whatnot, that gives me the feeling that the song will completely change at some point. And it is already super rich, like we have different sections and they are already quite different and contrasting to one another. The thing is, I have the lyrics open here on my phone and I totally lost since it is in French, which is not my forte. So I was trying to find myself here, but I couldn't. But let's keep going. So, this kind of behavior is what we call in vocal anthropophysiology a breathy voice. It's when we, on purpose, we allow escape of air in our voices. So I'm producing the sound here, and then I want to make this. So I want this breathy sound. And we do that a lot in contemporary singing. It doesn't have to be low. I can, of course, sing with that technique when I'm singing low. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I can have this. I hurt myself today. The breathy voice as well. But I can be singing high. I used to know. If I'm allowing that breathiness, that's what we call a breathy voice. And we have some of that here. But yeah, it is so rich, in fact, that, again, it's almost 11-minute song. I wouldn't stop at every change of technique because, again, it is extremely rich, and also something that makes my work here a bit harder, the harmonies, because they are doing different things, different melodies, but not only different melodies, they are singing with different schemes as well. This is a Gregorian voice. Some people will call that a head voice. That's fine. The thing is, inside vocal anthropophysiology, we usually avoid those traditional terms like chest voice or head voice or falsetto because we want it to be a bit more accurate when it comes to the physiology behind it. So we would rather say that the vocal folds are active or passive, and the vocal folds being passive, which means they are more relaxed. They are not resistant against that air pressure, or at least not by volition. The vocal folds are indeed closing, but it is the air pressure that's pulling them to the center rather than using muscle contraction, muscle engagement to resist. We would rather say that than saying that it is a head voice, because in reality it's not happening inside our heads. We are controlling the whole thing inside our larynxes, so it's just a different physiological behavior, but it happens inside the larynx as well. So when I have that sound, but I'm still trying to project my voice forward, we call this a Gregorian voice, in tribute to the Gregorian chant. But I can have other possibilities of singing with my vocal folds in passive tension. I can do the breathy, that's a breathy. I have that air escaping, but I can also use what we call a weak voice. She's super, super quiet. I don't know the volume for this. Yeah, so she's using a lot of breathy voice and Gregorian voice here. Son passage, si nos pulsations jouent à contre-temps, mon amour veille attend. The melodies are so good. Dans chaque éclat, son So this is interesting. Sometimes we tend to think, again, because of traditional concepts, that, one will use a chest voice when it's low, and then a head voice when they're singing high. Here, again, let's try to think in terms of physiology. So when you think about active vocal folds or passive vocal folds, since we are talking about the physiological behavior of the vocal folds, they can be full of blood, engaging the muscles more or less. That can happen regardless of how high or how low we are doing. Of course, when we are talking about the edges, super low or super high, it might be harder to keep the vocal folds active. But what we have here is a harmony where the higher voice is doing something active, and then the lower voice is doing something passive, is doing a Gregorian voice. So as their higher voice is doing da-da-da-da, the lower voice is doing something a bit softer. It's a Gregorian voice. And sometimes both of them, both voices, doing the Gregorian. It's beautiful. Okay, I think I can find the lyrics here right now. Mon amour, I was able to find it. Mon amour est à toi. Yeah. Mon amore t'attend. What did I say, guys? What did I say? Okay, calm down. So one of the most epic things that I can conceive in music is a duet between a guitar, an electric guitar, and a violin. But I'll tell you guys something. When I went to college and I did music performance, at the end of my program, and I was going to do my recital, I wanted to do a costume change in the middle of my recital. And I only had so much time to do it because my whole performance would be like 20 minutes. So what I did was I had a band playing behind me with a drummer, a bass player, a guitar player, and a piano player, and also a violin player. And what I did for me to get enough time, like 4 to 5 minutes, to change my costume was I wrote a solo for violin and electric guitar using some parts of the songs that I was playing. So it had something from Don't Stop Believing, Journey, some parts of the melody, but it also had some parts of Yesterday by the Beatles. And then I wrote that solo with a violin and guitar harmonizing the whole time. And it's just like, every time that I hear something like that, it's just epic. Like, in terms of rock, I think that those instruments, and of course heavy metal and the different subgenres inside metal, I think that's just like as epic as you can make it, having electric guitar and violin soloing together. Vocal folds are active and we have that full belt style, and yeah, but definitely to me it started to sound way more like rock, even though it's still not a rock song, which is great because it can be anything and it can be everything. It's just like so full of possibilities. Like when we are writing, and I feel that like when I'm writing for my band, which is a alternative rock band, there is only so much that you can write and it will still fit into a alternative rock record, or that would make sense for a band like that to play. So whenever I'm writing something that won't exactly fit in there, I keep developing that song, but as a solo song to release under my name, because I can experiment more that way. But when you're making a soundtrack, the sky's the limit. Like, if it fits the piece of art that you're writing to, for this case it is the game, but it could be anything, a movie, an animation, a TV show, then again you take those different inspirations, if you will, and you don't have to write to fit in a specific genre. And that's the reason why when I listen to this, some parts, of course, it sounds like classical music. Some parts, no, that's totally not classical. This is a heavy metal song. This is a speed metal song. Yeah, it's just epic in so many different ways. And it's hard to put that into a little box. You know what I mean? And I think that that's great. And I believe that nowadays, more and more composers and writers are trying to do something like that, even if they're not making exactly a soundtrack. And I think that's great. Like, think, for instance, Sleep Token and the kind of music that he does, that he writes. It's not something that you would easily describe into one specific genre. I mean, sometimes I'm listening to a part, I say, this is totally pop. But then the next part, oh no, this is nothing like pop. So, yeah, let's go. And I also love what they're doing with the stereo here, because I'm hearing his voice singing right here and then her voice singing right here. This is so epic. Hard to count. I'd say at least 4 voices there. At least 4 voices.
Dans l'amour, dans la vie, fleurit en couleur.
Yeah, it's on the side.
Sur la toile, notre vie s'écrit. Adieu.
Yeah, that's epic. So, yeah, it's just fantastic. I'm saying that from perspective of someone who doesn't even know what they were saying, because again, I'm trying to learn French, to be honest with you guys, but it's definitely, well, I'm definitely not yet to the point where I can understand what they're saying in there. Some words, of course, but not the whole thing. So that's definitely something that I'll check out in the future. And that, of course, reinforces my desire to play the game. I'll do in the future. It's just so epic. Well, what she was doing there in terms of vocal schemes, she was using a lot of Gregorian voices to make that sound more classical. Of some laryngeal vibratos as well, and of course some worn voices as well. Active vocal folds, resisting more against the air, hence that powerful sound, which sounds more like musical theater. In the way that he was singing, I would say that resembles way more rock singing and or musical theater as well. It was way less classical per se, but the whole thing is extremely epic and so much variation in terms of musical composition in general. So many different parts. That's what I would totally call a rhapsody. Like so many different sections, and at the same time, I feel like they were always returning to this specific motif, this specifically main melody or refrain. Yeah, it's not a song, it's a journey. That fantastic solo, the duet between the guitar and the violin, it's so fantastic the way they were singing. I don't know how many singers were there. There was this time that I thought that I was listening to at least 4 different voices, but I don't know if there was this couple and they were recording all the voices or if they had more singers. Yeah, what I was saying is it was already quite deep and strong to listen to this without having played the game. So I imagine people who play the game having all that context and all that preparation for you to listen to this. Well, let me know in the comments what you think of this song, and if you play the game, how it is like to listen to this inside the game when you're playing and it plays in there. If you want to check my online course, my singing course, Building Your Voice, the link in the description. There we talk about these active schemes, these passive schemes, vocal distortions as well, all techniques to make you more expressive when you're singing, and that's really important. For instance, if you want to be part of a soundtrack composition and you want to express different things with your voice, if you want to sing strong, sing soft, sing sweet, or sing with a distorted vocal to express anger or different feelings in general. We also cover ornaments like vibratos, hey, yodels, home, and runs, hey. We talk about all that inside my course. Again, check the link in the description. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell button to receive notifications whenever we have new videos, and remember, if your concepts cannot be seen in the real world, they must change and not the world.